Mwananchi, tabia zako ziko chini, unapenda kulipa hongo na kutumia njia za uongo. Una mipango na hata watoto wa kando, haujui hata majina yao. Kura yako uliuza maini figo, ukakulia hadi dini, kisha wasema tukuthamini, na wewe hapo hauaminiki, na wewe hapo haupangiki.
Wapi kidero when you need to slap somebody? Complain ufisadi kwani ulidhani t-shirt 50 bob leso siku ya campaign ilikuwa free? Ni 5 year loan investment utalipa kingi ya parliament. We are one, amani we are one. Na utumishi kwa wote, utu missing CCTV we were watching. Racial insecurity na job opportunity ni kama mti ya kibiriti. Side moja heavy, usiniambie Kenya kuna umaskini, kwani hizi fat fingers zinaibia nane? Maskando inatuleta wa survival. Media define leadership, na sura ukiaka front page na improve readership. Ambia wase wa Twitter wa hashtag hii ama hash reality doesn't make a good TT. Commission of inquiry wanakula commission bila kutupa ukweli. Ni kubaya baka kukiwa kuzuri, unashindwa nini mbaya? Machozi ya perpetrator ineza dilute damu ya victim ilimwagika. After all is said and done, all will be said, nothing will be done. You're not my tribe, but you're my blood type. Like it doesn't have to take tragedy to know that.
Sheria,
And a very good afternoon, fellow tulitwa criminals na traitors, manze. Karibuni sana. This is Sheria Dive right here on Pawa Radio. And my name is WaNjeri. Welcome, 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 welcome. We appreciate each and every one of you. Na kama unajua kuna msana fa kwa nasikiza hii show, why don't you just send that link to them and tell them to join in? Because today we're talking about public participation. Who knows? Maybe at some point in the show I'll tell you how I was arrested, man. Can you believe it? Yep, the posters were real. I was behind bars momentarily, but aluta continua. Awatuwezi. All right. Today we're talking about public participation. There are a few interesting things happening in the next 2 weeks. Of course, the president brought back his cabinet of incompetent people, and we'll have to participate in that. And I'll just be talking about what the process is in giving your views. And then we also look at the fuel levy. You remember the fuel levy? Guys gave public participation. How did that go? And where are we now on that matter of the fuel levy? But let me just take this opportunity to welcome you to the show. It's very, very cold in Nairobi. I don't know where you're listening in from, but Nairobi is so cold. Inabidi umevaa sweta tatu ama unawasha jiko kwa nyumba. And if in case unawasha jiko kwa nyumba, please remember to open the windows. Otherwise, tutajipata Sayuni. And our plan is when Ruto is out in 2027, we want to be with you celebrating on the streets. Sawa. So kiwasha jiko unafungua dirisha. Tuko pamoja? I'm in studio with Flozi. Flozi is our producer, and she's doing a fantastic job just keeping things going and working. Now, remember, this show also is on YouTube Live. In case you're watching on YouTube Live, you can use the chat function just to ask any questions or to give shout-outs. Hii ni kama tutafanya ikue kama, unajua zile, I don't know how old you are, whoever is listening, but there used to be a radio station where people would tuma salamu. Unatuma salamu kwa so and so. You can go ahead and do that, but also you can ask any questions you have on that live chat section, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. But for now, let's get some nice croony music. I think Hey, hii joto, hii baridi inahitaji mziki, italitaka joto kidogo. So let's get some music and then when we come back, we begin our deep dive into public participation. Let's go.
Pawa Radio. Power up.
Some days you feel like the world is on fire. Some days you feel like you're swimming and flying. Some days you wake up and you don't feel like you wanna chase what you don't see. But some days you feel like you're floating up high. So how about you try this time? Lifting up your head and sing out. What more than I see, there's more inside of me. Just lift up your voice and say, nitajaribu tena kesho. Nitaamka upya na nisonge. Hata wakipenda kunivunja, mambo yakizidi unga, sitashindwa kujivuta. Kesho naamka upya. Kesho naamka upya. Some days I know that you think of surviving, but you sleep and wake up and don't feel like fighting. But there's space in your soul to keep wanting more, to desire to soar. But some days you know that their words, they mean nothing. So how about you try this time? Lifting up your head and say, what more than I see, there's more inside of me. Just lift up your voice and say, nitajaribu tena kesho. Nitaamka upya na nisonge. Hata wakipenda kunivunja, mambo yakizidi unga, sitashindwa kujivuta. Kesho naamka upya.
That's Bridget Blue, and normally we'll have like two songs before coming, but I think Bridget Blue is an amazing artist, and she's giving us a great encouragement today. Tutajaribu kesho, manze, guys. I know it seems we're getting tired about demanding for change in Kenya, about asking for the things we want and we believe we should have in this country. But let me tell you, tutajaribu kesho, na lazima tufike kesho, manze. That's the promise. We have to arrive to our tomorrow. So kesho ni kujaribu. Leo unachoka, unalala, una relax, unapumzika. Then in the morning we get up and we do what must be done, because this is home. This is our country. The unfortunate thing about Kenya, guys, is that in the 80s and in the 70s, we have countries like Singapore who came to Kenya, took our master plans, took our policies, went and applied them in their own countries. And today, Singapore is actually a first world country. What happened to Kenya? We had dictators who came in, ruled over the country, guys who were getting into government just to make money for themselves and for their families, and then they call it generational wealth, na ni God manze, you know. Then the civic space was shut, you cannot speak your mind, all those things. And today, look at us, man. I think this country can be better, and this country must be better, and we have to demand for that. And as young people, we refuse to walk into a future that looks bleak for us, because we want to walk into a future that is bright. And part of that begins with actually taking a very, very active participation in the process of our governance. Because remember, the Constitution of Kenya at Article 1 says, all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with this Constitution. Shall, guys, not may. In the words of that very famous guy, shall not may. We have to be involved in how this country is run. We have to know where the money is going. We have to know which projects there are. We have to know who is being corrupt and call them out. We need to jail those people who are corrupt. We have to demand for better, guys. It's time not for us to lose hope or to lose sight, but it's time for us kukaza mshipi na kusema venye itaenda iende. But we are actually going to demand for a better country, because the reality is this. Even when you look at the cabinet appointments that have been made, what does that tell us? These guys don't get it, man. They think, just go get someone from this tribe, and we're okay. That's not why young people are asking for a different country and for things to be better. We are asking for things to be better for everyone. That idea of politics where you try to promote one tribe over the other, or try to promote one region over the other, it does not work. If a young person in Marsabit cannot eat a meal tonight and goes to bed hungry, if there's a child somewhere in Lodwar who cannot eat or who is sick, if there is someone in Kajiado who is on life support and cannot get proper medical treatment, it affects me even though I'm in Nairobi. That's what we are saying. And for that, we need leaders who actually see Kenya as a place that they want to grow for everyone else's benefit. Because the unfortunate bit is that in this country, people have just been looking out for themselves. Politicians, and they have called themselves leaders. You are not our leaders. You are our representatives. That's a very, very big difference. And I think that's why it hurts for them to see that you can have a movement that is leaderless, because we don't care about that. All we want is to have a better country for everybody. Today, I'm spitting fire, guys. Nikumoto. But let's get some more music, and then when we come back, we talk about public participation in Kenya. What is the requirement? And remember, all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with this constitution.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
I'm gonna write you a song that you could sing along for the rest of our days together. I'm gonna write you a song that you could sing along for the rest of our days together. Would you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere? Would you anywhere, where? Would you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere? Would you anywhere, where? They say don't you rush it if you want it to last forever. For your love I'd wait till hell freezes over. And when it rains, you can stay under my umbrella. We'll make it through the storm, it don't matter the weather. Baby, can't you see a future planned with me? Cause I do see one with you. So I'ma write this song to you. I'm gonna write you a song that you could sing along for the rest of our days together. I'm gonna write you a song that you could sing along for the rest of our days together. Would you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere? Would you anywhere, where? Would you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere? Would you anywhere, where? See, I love you cause I want to, I'm not forced to. I'ma treat you like a real man is supposed to do. Eventually, I'll get down on one knee and ask you if you wanna spend your life with me. Mware no kumenya kwendete utuko na modenya. Somebody's daughter niye tunaota. My light in the darkness, baby, when in your time. I'm gonna write you a song that you could sing along for the rest of our days together. I'm gonna write you a song that you could sing along for the rest of our days together. Would you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere? Would you anywhere, where? Would you anywhere, anywhere, anywhere? Would you anywhere, where? Would you anywhere, 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 where? Would you anywhere, 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 anywhere? Would you anywhere? Oh.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
change. My love for you will forever stay the same. Nikiwa kando yako, I'm miles away. We'll be okay, and I promise that soon I'll be here to stay. We'll break down, 'cause it'll be some time before tushikane mikono. And I won't see you often, I see you kupenda kwangu ni mipango ya Mungu. But I promise that soon I'll be here to stay. If it's your love, I'm prepared to wait. Nitangoja, na sitachoka. No matter where you are, nitangoja. Nitangoja, na sitachoka. No matter where you are, nitangoja. Nitangoja, na sitachoka. No matter where you are, nitangoja. Nitangoja, na sitachoka. No matter where you are, nitangoja. Na sitachoka. Sitachoka mama, sitachoka. Nitakungoja wewe. Oh, sitachoka. Sitachoka mama, yeah, yeah. No matter where you are, nitangoja. Na sitachoka.
Sitangoja na hatutachoka. Nitangoja, sitachoka. That's what we believe today, and that's what we're saying today. Welcome to Sheria right here on Power Radio with me, WaNjeri. I'm your host for this show, and thank you for joining us. I see you guys. I see you guys online. I see you guys who are watching. Please just say hi to us on the chat section. And if you have any questions about today's topic, public participation, you can just go ahead and ask those questions. Of course, if you listen to this online, you might as well also tweet on @Power Radio @WaNjeri, and I'll be able to see it. We'll be able to see all your questions, and we give responses to that. So, a few interesting things have happened this past week. Of course, we know the president came and gave the other half of his cabinet, and it was basically tribal appointments to people who are not there before. You remember the nonsense by the deputy president talking about shareholders in government, that shareholders lazima washibe, then the rest of you mukule mabakshishi. All right. So now it appears the president has tried to, in his words, create a broad-based government. He's getting more people from the opposition side. Then suddenly, guess what happens? Raila comes and says, I was not part of that thing. What do you mean you're not part of that thing? It's like, bro. Like, I think politicians are to be bangofala sana. Can you imagine someone comes to your house, raids your house, then you're not even sounding alarm, but you're saying, Miss Kutuma Home, say, what do you mean? We are not fools and we're not idiots. And I think the one thing I've realized even in all this is Kenyans have actually now realized that we have two classes in this country. On the one hand, it's the ruling class, and on the other hand, it's the citizens. Those are actually the only two classes. And what happens to the ruling class is that when they see the citizens coming together, they have to find something to disrupt that coming together for their own survival, because the ruling class cannot survive if the citizens are aware, if the citizens are woke, if the citizens are alert, and they'll, of course, try any means possible to just frustrate that coming together. So I just want to give a big shout out to everyone in your own spaces, those guys who came out to the streets and have continued to come out to the streets, everyone who's been tweeting, everyone who's been supporting, all the guys who gave money for, whether it's for the doctors to be able to treat people at Jamia, whether it's for guys to buy water, juice, all that, guys who are visiting people in the cells, everyone who's amplifying the stories of those who are missing. And we still have people who are missing even now. And we are demanding for the government to please go ahead and release all these people. There is no reason why they are still being held by the police. And of course, this week as well, Shad Kiprono was arrested. Do you guys remember that? Shad was sitting in Java having a meal, and the DCI just comes up and says, bro, uamke twende ama kutaharibika. Basically a threat. And these guys are hooded. And now the government of Kenya has decided it's a government policy that when you're coming out for protests to arrest people, you cover the number plate of those vehicles. Why are they doing this? Because remember last week when we were talking here about the disappearance of two gentlemen in a case that the LSK had taken, part of the reason that the court was convinced that it was the government that had them is that they were bundled into a police truck, and the people who are there were able to record that number plate. Why is the government behaving in a vigilante sort of way? It's really, really unfortunate to see what's going on in this country. But remember, we have fought very hard for the gains. We have the constitutional gains. We have fought very hard for the democratic space we have today, and we're not going to give that up easily. Kuna mtu ataenda na sio sisi. Tuko pamoja? There you go. Now, today we're talking about public participation. What really is the idea behind public participation? Now, in this country, one of the challenges that became very clear is that before 2010, decisions will just be made and people will be informed. These are the decisions. And sometimes you don't even be informed. You just see, hey, tomorrow this has happened, this has happened. And it was clear that Kenya was actually operating in a system where you cannot know what the plan of the government is. You cannot know what the plan for your development is. Those were the days Moi used to say, siasa chafu, siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. So that means if you are in a constituency where manasumbua Moi, ole wenyu. I think I remember one of the stories in Kikuyu. That time Kikuyu was under Kabete constituency. And the member of parliament was Paul Mute, senior counsel. And our new road had just been built and had been tarmacked in a place called Thogoto. So Thogoto Massive, I used to live there in my bachelor days. Place is so cold, man. I can't even imagine what it's like now. Anyway, can you imagine one day guys just woke up to find graders on the road tearing up the tarmac? And for, I think as the only time the tarmac came back was in about 2018, 2019. For all those years, these guys didn't have a road. Iyo uliko ukienda ku drive up, it's like an obstacle course, you know? Siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya, that's what Moi used to believe. So there are people who are deliberately left out of development. They were left out of the governance, and they were treated like pariahs. And in the 2010 constitution, people decided, wait a minute, we cannot actually allow this. And that's why under Article 174. Now, let's start with Article 10 of the Constitution, which says that participation of the people is one of our national values and principles of governance in this country called Kenya. That the people have to participate in their own governance. Under Article 174C, it provides that, for instance, for devolution, the object of devolution is to enhance the participation of people in the exercise of the powers of the state and in making decisions affecting them. Article 184(1)(c) also requires that mechanisms for participation by residents be included in the national legislation relating to urban areas and cities governance and management. Okay? The centrality of public participation in this country and in the governance of this country cannot actually be overemphasized or overstated. Multiple times in the Constitution is very clear. The people must be involved. So, you know how we do it here? We call out shenanigans, and we have a few examples. Now, you'll remember that there was this thing they are calling the Social Health Insurance Fund, which is coming to replace NHIF. Okay? Now, in Friday, early in the month of July, a 3-judge bench of the High Court of Kenya, consisting of Justices Alfred Mabea, Robert Limo, and Frida Mugambi, ruled that there was no public participation in coming up with a new healthcare program. And guys, it's hard to understand, why are we moving from NHIF to SHIF? Like, what's really the idea? When you listen to the president, he'll say there are some institutional issues with NHIF. So why not fix those institutional issues? NHIF lost over 300 million due to a typing error. So the money was actually not lost. The money is in people's pockets. But nani ameshikwa? Have you actually heard of anyone who's been arrested because of that? No one has been arrested. But the idea is, let's now move to SHIF and then we can forget about NHIF. That's the way this country works. We just like to accept and move on. This time it will not happen. Tumekata hiyo story. Anyway, so the judges of the High Court noted that there were disparities in the new Social Health Insurance Act, since what it was going to do, it was going to burden a few salaried individuals by creating a disparity in the contribution. Okay? But the judges said, this thing has issues. You better fix it before November 20th. Otherwise, if by November 20th you have not fixed the issues with SHIF, then SHIF will not actually move forward. I'm going to be giving you more details on this SHIF judgment, the SHIF judgment, and what exactly were the judges talking about. And beyond that, we're also going to be looking at some of the things that are happening in our counties. For instance, did you know that Nairobi County wanted to introduce a new parking system without asking for public participation? Hey, what we do here is we take a deep dive into the law so that you and I, when we are taking our stand and when we are demanding for what you're demanding, it's coming from a point of knowledge and awareness. So let's get some music, and then when we come back, we just take a deeper dive into SHIF, the Social Health Insurance Fund. Why did the High Court declare that it was unconstitutional?
Power Radio. Tune in and power up. I like that CCN.
This anthem goes to Angela, Baggy, hey, Angie, hey, WaNjeri. Angie, body, shake your body. Angie, know you want me, try me.
Angela, I know you like teasing, I know you like freaking, I know you sound easy. Angela, am I the one scheming, am I the one cheating, no you just don't feel me?
My sexy angel Angela, with you hakuna matata. Hunyashwa nipa furaha, itabidi tumechanga hiyo sadaka. Akiwalai nimekupata, can't lose you niko rada. Big size GB baby uko sawa. I'm addicted, Angela my dawa. Angie, body, shake your body. Angie, know you want me, try me.
Angela, I know you like teasing, I know you like freaking, I know you sound easy. Angela, am I the one scheming, am I the one cheating, no you just don't feel me?
Angie, body, shake your body. Angie, know you want me, try me.
Yeah,
try me.
Hey, Angie, why you so enticing? Body look good, body like munchies. Bigger here, boom, make it bombastic. Why you look good, but you don't like it? Ay, touch it, lick it, ride it. Central, how to do it private. Niko na bida, nani mali safi. Mr. Officer, I don't need sirens, yeah.
Angie, body, shake your body. Angie, know you want me, try me.
Angela, I know you like teasing, I know you like freaking, I know you sound easy. Angela, am I the one scheming, am I the one cheating, no you just don't feel me?
Angie, body, shake your body. Angie, know you want me, try me.
Angela, I know you like teasing, I know you like freaking, I know you sound easy. Angela, am I the one scheming, am I the one cheating, no you just don't feel me?
This just it. This just it. Angela, you done finish me. Many my Lisa.
Taxi on the beat.
Took a moment or two under the shining skies, lost in the lover's dream, lost in that evergreen. I came across comfort, took me from the danger, and I found it in a stranger's eye. And when I feel you near me,
Sometimes I see so clearly. Every road's been leading me to you. Basi leo tu nikaribie, dunia ni yetu pekee. Gimana duto yagi tupataweri. Can I take you home to my baby? To say duto ile madwari. Can I take you home to my baby? Salama, salama, salama. What a beautiful time to make a change in our lives. Yes, we form such a team, and you make me feel so seen. I came across support, took me from the danger. You're no longer a stranger. And when I feel you near me, sometimes I see so clearly. Every road's been leading me to you. Basi leo tu nikaribie, dunia ni yetu pekee. Gimana duto yagi tupataweri. Can I take you home to my baby? Tusiche duto ine madwari. Can I take you home to my baby? Gimana duto yagi tupataweri. Can I take you home to my baby? Tusiche duto ine madwari. Can I take you home to my baby? Take you home to my baby. Oh, we're Teddy Dalla, Teddy Dalla, Teddy Dalla. Oh, Teddy Dalla, Teddy Dalla.
And that's Keithan for you. And I like that the young generation is also just really embracing our mother tongue, okay, our native tongues. Jabidi, I think we're going to play that Jabidi song. It's such a cool song. Now, I was talking earlier about the SHIF, which is the Social Health Insurance Fund, which is meant to replace the National Health Insurance Fund. And of course, surprise, surprise, get who's going to be the head of the new SHIF. One of Ruto's guys worked for him in one of his insurance companies. You know, what I think part of the problem we have in Africa is leaders think they will live forever. Hakuna mtu anaishi milele. We are all candidates of death. So you better make sure this country works for everyone. Now, the High Court recently declared SHIF to be unconstitutional. And the reason for it was that, number one, Section 26 and 27 of the Social Health Insurance Act were found to be unconstitutional and were actually suspended. Now, Section 26.5 made the registration and contribution a precondition for dealing with or accessing public services from the national and county government. So basically what the government was saying is, if you are not been registered and you've not been contributing to SHIF, you cannot go to a national or a county hospital and get treated. Okay? Ni kama entrance fee kwa club. Hauingii. This is regardless of the fact that there are people who don't have a job, they're unable to make these payments. It does not matter. You are not coming here and you're not getting any treatment. Section 27.4, on the other hand, provided that a person shall only access healthcare services where the contributions to SHIF are up to date and active. Now imagine that. If your contributions are not up to date and they're not active, you're not getting treated. That is what these people are putting in the laws that they're using to kandamiza us here in Kenya. Now, The judges, of course, held it was unconstitutional. Why? Number one, there is what we call the right to emergency medical service in Kenya. That when you go to a medical facility and it is an emergency, they have an obligation and a duty to treat you regardless of who you are, regardless of what card you have or what card you do not have, because it's emergency medical treatment. So in essence, the SHIF Act was being brought to violate constitutional provisions, to violate your right to receive emergency medical treatment. Because as long as you have not made contributions to SHIF and your contributions are not up to date, we are not seeing you. No one is touching you. Wake up or kufe. And we've seen we are dealing with a government that is they do not consider the lives of Kenyans to be anything important. Unaweza kufa venye unataka kukufa. Now, the court said those two provisions cannot stand the test of constitutionality because they offend and they violate Article 43 of the Constitution, all right, which obligates every Kenyan to be uniquely identified for purposes of the provision of health services. And of course, Parliament was given 120 days to make amends to the Act, and if they fail, then the Act shall remain suspended. Now, one of the other things that happened as well in that judgment is that the court found that the way SHIF is set up, it burdens a few salaried individuals and it creates a huge disparity in the contribution. That's actually one of the key issues with SHIF is that those who are salaried and you're earning a salary somewhere, the burden of paying for SHIF is on you. The rest of the people who are not salaried, it's like they almost are getting away with it. So why do you want to burden a few individuals, right? So that you can go ahead and benefit others. What actually is the idea behind that? So the High Court has said, we are not going to do that. We are not going to allow that. So Parliament has a chance to actually make the changes that they need to make. And I think at some point in this show, I'm going to be telling you some of the laws that are coming up, some of the bills that are coming up in Parliament for consideration by both the National Assembly and the Senate. But first, in the year 2020, the county government of Nairobi passed some laws, all right? They passed the Nairobi City County Finance Act, all right? They passed the Public Finance Management Act, and they had the Nairobi City County Assembly Standing Orders 2017, okay? Now, someone went to court, and these were private businesses, Caps Parking Limited and Paytech Limited. They went to court, and basically what they were saying is, number one, the Finance Act has been passed by the Nairobi County Assembly outside the 90 days timeline provided for by the Constitution, the Public Finance Management Act, and the Nairobi City County Assembly Standing Orders, okay? The second one was that the Finance Act 2018 had been passed without any or adequate public participation. Then, the third ground was that the Finance Act was discriminatory and punitive. We're going to be looking today at that factor of adequate public participation. Was there actually proper public participation in this case to enable the court to look at it and say, okay, this has passed or rather this has not passed? What actually is a requirement under Kenyan law? Because one of the things we've realized is that many of the laws that are being passed, many of the decisions that are being made, people are actually not being properly involved. There are no stakeholder consultations. You are not being consulted, yet some of these decisions are meant to come and affect your life in ways that you cannot even imagine. All right? So, what then is a proper standard when it comes to public participation? Now, in a court decision in Mombasa in 2018 and another one also in 2019, the judges of the court said that the starting point is the Constitution in Article 2 declares the Constitution as the supreme law of the land, and it binds all persons and all state organs at both levels of government. Okay? The validity of our Constitution is not subject to any kind of challenge, and that any law that is inconsistent with it is void to the extent of that inconsistency. Further, any act or omission in contravention of the Constitution is invalid. And under Article 3, an obligation is actually placed upon every person to respect, to uphold and to defend the Constitution. All right? Now, the big question that was being asked here is public participation. What exactly is the requirement here? The court noted that according to the plain and ordinary meaning, the words public involvement or public participation, they refer to the process by which the public participates in something. Facilitation of public involvement in the legislative process therefore means taking steps to ensure that the public participate in the legislative process. Okay? So in essence, what public participation means is that there is a process of engaging members of the public or a representative sector while developing laws and formulating policies that affect them. So that's why you talk about the public, you talk about stakeholders. If, for instance, you can imagine, if tomorrow the government was to try and pass a policy that we are not going to eat fish in this country, okay, just as an example, do you think making that decision without talking to people who are fishing in Lake Turkana, Lake Victoria, all these places, people with fish ponds, do you think making that decision without involving them is proper? It's not proper because they are stakeholders. They're in that industry. That's where they're getting their bread and butter. Okay, so consultation is to ask for the advice or opinion of someone and to confer. Okay, and the courts have been saying that consultation is a more robust and pointed approach. It's towards a targeted group. Okay, it's an engagement. However, in Kenya, we have not actually been doing this right. Now, the High Court as well, there was a matter which is usually popularly known as the Mui Coal Basin case. And the court said this: a public participation program must show intentional inclusivity and diversity. Any clear and intentional attempts to keep out bona fide stakeholders would render the public participation program ineffective and illegal by definition. In determining inclusivity in the design of a public participation regime, the government agency or public official must take into account the subsidiary principle. This is a principle in public participation, that those most affected by a policy, legislation, or action must have a bigger say in that policy, legislation, or action, and their views must be more deliberately sought and taken into account. Hiyo kizungu hata kama ni nyingi. What the court is saying here is the people who are most affected by a decision, those are the ones, as a matter of fact, who should have a bigger say in that policy that is being created, or in that legislation, or in that action that is being taken. Now, the seeking of their views should be a very deliberate attempt. Very, very deliberate. And their views should be taken into account. Because part of the problem we have, for instance, you guys will remember Murkomen when he was still at transport. The guy comes out and says, we are going to increase the fuel levy. Public participation is called. People go to KICC, they give their views. Then what does he say? We are not going to actually go ahead with this thing. We've listened to Kenyans. We'll find out what we can do differently. Kidogo, a few days later, the fuel levy has been increased by 7 shillings. So what is the point of calling people for that meeting and having that discussion and then going ahead to give the assurance that we are not going to increase this levy, then you go ahead and increase it? Is that actually public participation? Does public participation simply mean that we turn up, we give our views, and we go home? That a box has just been ticked? You know, they participated, that's it. All we need to do is to have a list of members showing these guys came, they gave their views and went. No. The idea, the Constitution actually wanted us to have a participative democracy, a democracy where you and I are taking a very active role in how we are governed and in how decisions are taken. And we can be able to ask questions, we can be able to give our thoughts, we can be able to give our findings, and then those things that we say are taken into consideration. It's not actually treated like just another thing. That is what the Constitution had in mind. And the court in this decision of the Nairobi County was of the view that a consultation tends to give more latitude to key sector stakeholders in a given field so that they're able to take part in the process towards the making of laws or formulation of administrative decisions which to a large extent impact them. The importance of public participation cannot be underscored. You cannot say, we can't even say enough about why public participation is important. Now, the Court of Appeal issued this decision in a case of Legal Advice Center and 2 others versus the County Government of Mombasa and 4 others. They were dealing with an aspect of public participation in the lawmaking process. And they said the purpose of permitting public participation in the lawmaking process is to afford the public the opportunity to influence the decision of the lawmakers. This requires the lawmakers to consider the representations made and thereafter to make an informed decision. Lawmakers must provide opportunities for the public to be involved in meaningful ways, to listen to their concerns, values, and preferences, and to consider this in shaping their decisions and policies. Were it to be otherwise, the duty to facilitate public participation would have no meaning. That is the standard of public participation, that you will listen and people will be involved in meaningful ways. You will listen to their concerns, you will listen to their values, you will listen to their preferences, and when you're making your decision, you will consider those things as you make your decision. So, what did the County of Nairobi get wrong when they were passing their Finance Act of that year, 2018? Let's get some music and then I'll come back. We tackle that as we're talking today about public participation. Remember, if you have any questions, you can use the live chat function on our YouTube live, but also you can reach us on the socials at Pawa Radio, at James K. WaNjeri. Let's go.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Pawa Radio.
Yeah. Jackie.
Magic's anger on the beat.
Bajuka ni kama unarusha mamikono tingisha kichwa chungu usivunje kisogo teremuka kakonokono basi ni kionjo twende mamiondoko mamio ndoko mamio ndoko mamio ndoko sasi inadonjo wasi ni kumoto mamio ndoko mamio ndoko mamio ndoko sasi inadonjo wasi ni kumoto. Kale ka dance kwanza kiwa kijaba ndo napewa kichance low but sure no kizitoko na relax rusha mikono juni kama hujui kudance toa kofia na mkono kulia pa panguza kiharabas notoe kijasho moonlight love kwa jua na mpango wa kando ndo kisianda maidana madhando
mami ondoko mami sipoko kakuna njoti tunachana na popcorn ongeza flow na doju tumedonjo alisema ni fast time but hiyo ni uongo sikienyeji huyo dem ni mwitu see through niliacha chuo ni pedibitu itu ndani ya msitu iko na jitu please tu nimemada hariwa shokitu
mamio ndoko mamio ndoko mamio ndoko sasi inadonjo wasi ni kumoto mamio ndoko mamio ndoko mamio ndoko sasi inadonjo wasi ni kumoto.
Raundi za mtaani kapata Mia Khalifa, Mia kadhaa mami, Mia kajipa pale kwa local kwa ile mbogi ya FIFA. Teremsha angusha kakalita, alikula fish kirimba, alikuja fish na rinda na tuko east tuliza venye alifanywa. Miondoko lazima ondoka kama umezima, uliza Harry Grace venye alifanya.
Alichoma mbogi wakadai kuokoka, hapa ka ujiku dance nurudi kulometoka. Ndani ya club fast na wa mwisho kutoka, rombosea boys fiti nikakiuno ina moto. Oka one night na mimi unaomoshwa, miondoko fanya tu kama kwako umekosha. Ukikaa mbash bila boti unaondoka, vunja mifupa miondoko bado slow.
Mamio ndoko, mamio ndoko, mamio ndoko, sasi inadonjo wasi ni kumoto, mamio ndoko, mamio ndoko, mamio ndoko, sasi inadonjo wasi ni kumoto. Banjuka ni kama unarusha mamikono, tingisha kichwa chungu usivunje kisogo. Mamio ndoko, mamio ndoko, mamio ndoko, mamio ndoko.
Pawa Radio. Tune in and Power up.
You are the melody in my head, a remedy that I never had before. I sing it in the morning, na feel mpaka jioni. Sometimes nafunga macho ndoni indekasioni. I wonder if you ever get thirsty with the runs on my mind, like a band lives inside. In all the melodies in my head, you are the melody.
You're the soundtrack to my life, my angel and my light, the reason I'm alive, the reason for my smile. The pressure could be high, but our love will never die. And I promise you, you will never, ever, ever lack. To go in our bag, we're winning back to back. Blessings every morning, I answer to my calling, to love you, to hold you. I promise I'll be there for you. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Trinity to infinity, yeah, yeah. You're my mini-me. Be who you wanna be. I'll take care of your enemies. I ain't got no shame, I only got love. Yeah, we're so the same. One of ones, your melodies, they follow me, your melodies, they follow. You are the melody in my head, a remedy that I never had before. I sing it in the morning, I feel bakajioni. Sometimes nafunga macho ndoni indekasioni. I wonder if you ever get thirsty, but the rains on my mind, like a band lives inside it. All the melodies in my head, you are the melody, the melodies.
You are the melody. Isn't that what you want to hear right now in this cold on a Saturday afternoon? This is the studio, man. I hope you, if you're at home, hold that blanket closely. And if you have someone, hold them even closer. This is that type of weather where you do not want to be all by yourself. But I know there are guys who are also out there just making things work and making decisions that improve their lives and those in their lives. So we salute you, each and every one of you. Now we're talking about public participation. What is the standard of public participation? The SHIF did not comply with the requirements of public participation. And the reason I'm reading a decision of the year 2020 is because we're in 2024. Sometimes we like to think that it's just that some decisions are made using ignorance. No. These decisions have been around for quite a while. And when you actually see things are being done in a fogothary way, that's the word I can use. If you see things are being done in a fogothary way, just know that's actually being done on purpose. Now, the reality of the matter is that when it comes to public participation, there is no straitjacket application, okay? It will depend on the matter at hand. However, the court has established 4 parameters that you must follow. Number 1, the public must be accorded reasonable access to the information which they are called upon to give their views on, okay? In other words, the mode of conveying the information to the public reigns. You cannot participate in a process that is opaque. You cannot participate in something that you have no clue about. So the first thing that those in government need to do, both at the county and at the national level, is to ensure that you as a citizen, you have reasonable access to the information which you are being called upon to give your views on. Number 2, The other parameter is that people must be sensitized or be made to understand what they are called upon to consider and give their views on. What does this mean? It means that the language used in giving this information to the public becomes of paramount importance. Okay? Now you can imagine if you have a group of people who are largely illiterate, okay? That reality must factor in when you're determining how you are going to engage them. You cannot come and say, I put it in the newspaper, they should have read. That is unacceptable. You actually have to look at the target audience, at the target population, and see what language do I need to communicate to these people in. Which means, as part of public participation, even those vernacular stations, we should be having government personnel going to those radio stations to be hosted. Uambie wasee na Kikamba, hawa ni kama CS. Kazi ya CS ni gani? What is the requirement for a CS? Should you have a CS who is a person of loose moral character? Should you have a CS who is a person who has been involved in corruption scandals? Should you have a CS who used to be a governor and he ate money, or used to be an MP and ate money? That information should be given in a language that the people understand. Number 3, once the public has been granted reasonable access to the information and they have been made to understand it, the public must then be accorded reasonable time to interrogate the information and to come up with its views. Okay? You cannot issue a letter today for public participation that we are hosting a public participation tomorrow. No, that's against the Constitution. People must be given reasonable time, okay, to understand it. Once they understand it, then they can interrogate it. And once they interrogate it, then they can come up with their views. Number 4 and final is that there must be a defined manner in which the public or stakeholders will tender their responses on the matter. And this is very key, even as we'll be talking about how will feedback be given on the cabinet nominees that we have now. There must be a defined manner in which we say, this is how your responses will be received. And the High Court was very clear that the effect of that constitutional and statutory parameter was to ensure that public participation is realistic and not an illusion, okay? It should not be a mere formality. You're not ticking a box. You must accord reasonable opportunity to people, for people to have their say in what affects them. In that way, the Constitution and the law are achieved. The purpose of the Constitution and the law are achieved in that way. So, in this case, the county said that we undertook public participation in respect to the Finance Bill of 2018. We placed an advertisement in the county website under submissions of memorandum and public participation, and we invited the public to air their views on the amendment to the Nairobi County Finance Act, which resulted in the Finance Act 2018. The public views were then collected by the appropriate committee, and in this case, they met in 2 places. The entire Nairobi County. They met at Waithaka Social Hall on 29th October. Then on 30th October, they went to Jericho Social Hall. How many wards does Nairobi have? Those are only 2 wards in Nairobi. That's the only place they had physical meetings to get people's views. Now, the court was informed that they had 2 ways of making the bill available to the public. Number 1 is that they uploaded it into the county website, and number 2 was by organizing public meetings. Now, the court found that on the matter of uploading on the county website, the county did not state when the bill was uploaded and what steps they took to inform the public of the same. There is no record of people who reside within Nairobi County who access the website either on daily basis or within the period the bill was uploaded. They didn't even have the data. They couldn't even say, these are the number of people who saw this, these are the number of people who downloaded the bill. They couldn't give that information. Now, on the 2 meetings, the court was of the view that, wait, Nairobi County is the 3rd smallest county in Kenya. However, it's also the most populous of the counties, which at that time had about 5 million people, okay? Now, the court found Waithaka Social Hall is in Waithaka Ward in Dagoretti South constituency. Jericho Social Hall is in Makadara constituency. It therefore meant that the two public meetings were held in 2 wards out of the 85 wards in the country. Can you believe that? Now, the court was of the view, what criteria was used to settle on these 2 places? And was the public made aware that this is where the meetings would be happening? Okay? They also did not inform the court how many people attended those meetings. The court also was like, even if people attended, there is no record showing the sectors they were coming from and the areas they were coming from as they were attending. And the court said this court is therefore not convinced that the respondents conducted any of the alleged 2 meetings. And the court was saying this, even if the court takes that the 2 meetings were held, the county ought to have considered other modes of conveying and sensitizing the bill to the public, especially considering that not every resident in Nairobi may be accessible to the county website and that the public meetings were not publicized. In this case, the use of mass media like local newspapers, television stations, and radio stations would have been sufficient. But now the court was also asking, what about those who are differently abled? For instance, the blind and the deaf. How did you actually ensure that the blind and the deaf had access to this information and they could use that to read and understand and then to challenge the process or to give their views on that process? Now, the court also looked at it and said, there's a problem of language in the bill. Article 7 of the Constitution of Kenya provides that the national language is Kiswahili, while the official languages are Kiswahili and English. The bill was only published in English language. They did not present any evidence to show how the people who cannot read and understand English were taken care of. The need to reach out to those who cannot read and or understand English language was inevitable. They had to do it. They did not give any reasons why they only provided the bill in English language. They were bound by Article 7 of the Constitution to, unless for reasons to be given, avail the bill in Kiswahili language as well. All right? Now, we'll come back as we look at what the final decision of the court was based on that. And even as we are talking about the cabinet nominees, what information should you give? How should you give that information? And what is the procedure on that? We'll come back. This is Sheria Dive right here on Power Radio. We're looking out for your questions on this matter of public participation. What are your questions? What are some of the things you'd like answered? Some of the things you'd like to get explained? You can reach us on our YouTube live chat, or you can also just tweet or reach out to us on the socials at Power Radio, at James K. WaNjeri. Let's get some music. Let's go.
Power Radio. Power up.
Vijana barubaru na wewe ya dada. I'm on a romantic call. Baby panda mti kama network ni blanda. I'm on a romantic call. Better option ni wewe safa elewe. I'm on a romantic call. Nimekunokia na techno kuhanga papana. I'm on a romantic call. Better option ni wewe. Leo nimebaibamba, leta mamako tuonge. Tulikosana tangu masikio nitoboe. Hii namba ni ya msee wa movie hapa base. Usireply hata kikutext. Uliwacha kubonda tangu kuku zenu ziende missing. Mliacha kushuku ule mkisi kuna ukame. Na hopa bako aliunda fence. Naogopa sana kuliwe na fisi. I'm on a romantic call. Baby panda mti kama network ni blanda. I'm on a romantic call. Better option ni wewe safa elewe. I'm on a romantic call. Nimekunokia na techno kuhanga papana. I'm on a romantic call. Better option ni wewe. Kielewe, kielewe, keke. Lazima nikuweke, kielewe, kielewe, keke. Lazima nikuweke, kielewe, kielewe, keke. Lazima nikuweke, kielewe, kielewe, keke. Lazima nikuweke.
grow some balls nipigane juu yako, nibonge na God nimwitishe bei yako, nilale chini unikalie kichapo, nibonge na gang ndo tufike Rorasho. Pia nadai tuwatese Nairobi hadi da, couple goals too much outfits Adidas, kubali ni kushike ni kukunjie kwa cab, shukuru ex wako I'm glad alikudump, my gold una glitter fashion killer, grass is greener when the thighs are thicker, na picture yo tumbo ikiget bigger, nataka kaboy unadeka kwena sister, 2 hours on a video call na we, who feel like a minute we can do this all night, ukigoloa kuna low sezi break, uko lonely I'ma cruise to your end.
I'm on a romantic call, baby kona mti kama network ni blanda, I'm on a romantic call, better option ni wewe safa elewe, I'm on a romantic call, nimekunokia na techno kuhanga papana, I'm on a romantic call, better option ni wewe, kielewe, kielewe, keke, lazima nikuwe, kielewe, kielewe, keke, lazima nikuwe, kielewe, kielewe, keke, lazima nikuwe, kielewe, kielewe, keke, natafuta maka nishapata jiko, kama cheating ni drugs niko detox, mfuna nipa uhai kuna symptoms, safisha signal.
Neza grow some balls nipigane juu yako, nibonge na God nimwitishe bei yako, nilale njaa unikalie kichapo, nibonge na gang ndo tufike Rorasho.
I'm on a romantic call, baby kona mti kama network ni blanda, I'm on a romantic call, better option ni wewe safa elewe, I'm on a romantic call, nimekunokia na techno kuhanga papana, I'm on a romantic call, better option ni wewe, kielewe, kielewe, lazima nikuwe, kielewe, kielewe, lazima nikuwe, kielewe, kielewe, lazima nikuwe, kielewe, kielewe, lazima nikuwe.
Made it.
Black Market Records.
Kila saa za uko sufike hapa sukami hivi ndio kufika hivi naona meza imechrome shots kopado niko na marafiki dhana wa uko na pesa tena sana shida wako kazi mchana usiku wanalewa na kuchana nikisikia form mimi nakimbia shots tunamwagia mapema na sana ukiona brana kupigia akiwa na kevo pombe na wasichana tushafika gym, utalewa anytime any day. Ogopa marafiki wa whisky, utazima by force anyway. Air Force 24 madiche, pre-game tukiwa kwa highway. Unazimia kwa club, kesho tutoe log, tulewe again and again. Tushafika.
Marafiki
Marafiki wazuri ni wale wanakwambia mwende maandamano na you demand better from the government. Those are the good friends. Okay? Now, back to our petition. The court was of the view that, number one, uploading the bill into the county website and conducting 2 meetings in 2 wards out of 85 wards in Nairobi County, if at all the meetings are conducted, did not attain the threshold of according the public reasonable opportunity to participate in the legislative process. And these are the words of the court. I therefore find no difficulty in holding that the respondent's actions infringed Articles 10, 47, 174, C, 196, 1B, and 201 of the Constitution. The respondent's actions are hence constitutionally infirm. Ikawekwa kando, anguka nayo. Now, this week, we received a note from the clerk of the National Assembly. This is what it says: submission of memoranda. Approval by the National Assembly of the persons nominated to be appointed as cabinet secretaries. Okay? Now, that notice has been issued so that you and I can then go ahead and make our presentations on the people that are being nominated for the cabinet and what we think. Should these people be appointed to this position? Do you have any information that the Parliament and the MPs should consider? And by the way, parliamentarians should know that those days of just kupitisha vitu tu ovyo ovyo, those days are over. Those days are dead and gone. Now, we are in a space where we want you, as you vote, let us know, why are you voting? Why are you making this choice? Are you listening to what the people are saying? Are you listening? Are you listening? Now, we've had a very interesting things happening online, especially on Twitter, which is our X. As I said, the National Assembly on 25th, the clerk of the National Assembly on 25th of July 2024 sent out an invitation to submit memoranda. And this is what it says: whereas in accordance with Article 152.2 of the Constitution, His Excellency the President is empowered to nominate and with the approval of the National Assembly appoint cabinet secretaries. His Excellency the President has nominated in the following 10 positions for appointment as cabinet secretaries for the ministries indicated below. And of course, they give their names: John Badi, Salim Vuria, Rebecca Miano. John Badi is being given the National Treasury and Economic Planning. I think he's an accountant. That's his background. Salim Vuria has a background in agriculture. He's being given investments, trade and industry. Rebecca Miano has a background in law. She's being given tourism and wildlife. James Opio Andai is being given energy and petroleum. Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen, Mr. Goldwatch and 50,000 shillings belt. Kwani unashikilia nini bro? Anyway, pia amepewa youth affairs, creative economy and sports. Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, he of the... Anyway, he's been given mining, blue economy and maritime affairs. Dr. Alfred Mutua amepewa labor and social protection. Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya has been given cooperatives and micro, small and medium enterprises development. Justin Muchturi, the former AG, is now back as a public service and human capital development. His background is in law. Stella Soy Langat has been given gender, culture, the arts and heritage. Now, the clerk of the National Assembly is saying that following the receipt of the nominations from the President, the Speaker of the National Assembly referred the nominees to the Committee on Appointments, which is mandated to consider them for approval by the House, noting that Section 6.9 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, provides that any person may, prior to the approval, hearing, and by written statement on oath, provide the clerk with evidence contesting the suitability of a candidate to hold the office to which the candidate has been nominated. So what are they saying? You have to prepare an affidavit, and if you have any evidence against them, you annex it to your affidavit, okay? And then that affidavit is presented to the clerk of the National Assembly. Now, therefore, in compliance with Article 118(1)(b) of the Constitution and Section 6.9 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, the clerk of the National Assembly hereby invites members of the public to submit any representation they may have by way of written statement of oath and affidavit with supporting evidence contesting the suitability of any nominee proposed for appointment. The representations may be forwarded. We have several ways. Number one, you can forward it to the clerk of the National Assembly, PO Box 041-842-00100 Nairobi. You can hand deliver it to the office of the clerk, main parliament buildings. That's another Occupy Parliament. We should go with our affidavits up. We occupy. It's allowed. Iko kwa sheria. Okay. And number 3 is you can actually send an email. And the email is cna@parliament.go.ke. I'm going to say that again. cna@parliament.go.ke and appointments.nationalassembly@parliament.go.ke, appointments.nationalassembly@parliament.go.ke, to be received on or before 1st of August 2024 at 5 p.m. So you have to give your views on or before the 1st of August. Now, Kenyans are very interesting people. There's a gentleman called Bonge Lamayut on Twitter, and he's been tagging me on a lot of these posts, and it's been amazing. They have said this: drop-off points for sworn affidavits for submissions to National Assembly contesting the appointment of cabinet nominees. Nuria Bookstore, Moy Avenue, International House, 8th floor, Ogle and Associates, Nairobi, Equity Plaza Commercial Street, 4th floor, Wing B in Thika. Now, what they're actually doing is that they're giving details, and you actually need to go check them out at Bunge la Mayut, and they're providing places where you can go and that affidavit can be stamped for you free of charge. The lawyers are not going to charge you for those affidavits, okay? On 26th of July, we have several advocates there: Advocate Mora Muroki, Advocate Owino Owiso, Advocate Nyokabi Njogu. On Monday, 29th of July, Advocate Mora Muroki, Wamboi Githiri, Nerima Were. On the 30th, Tuesday, Advocate Mora Muroki, Wamboi Githiri, and Advocate Mwenda Ntogaiti. And they have actually given their details there. So you just take your affidavit there, they stamp it for you for free, and then they are delivered to Parliament. Kenyans are amazing people. We're coming together and we are saying we will make this possible. We will tutahakikisha. Now, what should the memoranda have? You need to state whether you are opposing or you're supporting the cabinet nominee. And if you're opposing them, you have to give reasons, okay? If you believe they are not clean, you know, they are people of low integrity, they're people who have scandals, then you provide evidence of that and you present to your member of parliament. And I think as well, we need to now start lobbying members of parliament and calling them and telling them, excuse me, sir, do not approve that nomination. You have the power as a citizen and as a voter to actually demand that from your MP. Now, I'm going to read you something here. There's a gentleman who wrote this about the nomination of Kipchumba Murkomen, and I'm reading this. The gentleman who did this, his name is Karanja Matindi, and he has provided one approach to contesting the appointment of cabinet nominees. This is what he says. The Clerk of the National Assembly, Parliament Buildings, Nairobi, Kenya. Dear Sir, Madam, I'm writing to express my strong objection to the nomination of Kipchumba Murkomen for the position of Cabinet Secretary for Sports and Youth Affairs. My objection is based on several serious allegations and concerns about Murkomen's conduct and integrity. Number one, financial impropriety. Of course, I'm reading this verbatim. Mr. Murkomen has been accused of receiving Kenya shillings 15 million from out-of-the-box solutions through his law firm, Singoe Murkomen and Sigei Advocates, in connection with the National Youth Service scandal. B, the Senator for Nandi County has accused Mr. Murkomen of accepting a $100 million bribe from Chinese contractors allegedly stashing the funds in Dubai. C, there are reports of Mr. Murkomen being arrested for money laundering in Dubai. I'm reading this verbatim. Number two, he says there's abuse of power. I have video evidence of Mr. Murkomen speaking in his local dialect, threatening other leaders during his tenure as Cabinet Secretary for Roads. In this video, he states that he is a CS and that he's going nowhere, and that all leaders must submit to him to secure development in their areas. Then he also speaks about public perception. He says he is widely perceived by the Kenyan public as arrogant and opulent. He has reportedly admitted to this in an interview, seemingly at the expense of taxpayers. These allegations and behaviors, if true, they violate several constitutional provisions and laws. Now, he also says, Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya on national values and principles of governance, particularly on integrity, transparency, and accountability, have been violated by our CS nominee. Article 73 on responsibilities of leadership, especially on bringing honor to the nation and dignity to the office, have been violated. The Public Officer Ethics Act 2003, particularly Section 11 on conflict of interest, Section 12 on collections and harambes, Section 10 on professionalism and courtesy. Number 4, the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act 2003 regarding the allegations of bribery and money laundering. Number 5, the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, specifically Section 11 on financial probity, Section 16 on conflict of interest, Section 19 on bullying. And he says, given these serious allegations and concerns, I strongly urge the National Assembly to reject his nomination as Cabinet Secretary for Youth and Sports Affairs. At the very least, I request a thorough investigation into these matters before any consideration of his appointment. The position of CS requires an individual of unquestionable integrity and commitment to public service. The allegations against him raise significant doubts about his suitability for this role, particularly one involving youth affairs, given the alleged involvement in the National Youth Service scandal. I trust that you'll give this matter the serious consideration it deserves, keeping in mind the best interests. All right, keeping in mind the best interests of our nation's youth and the integrity of our government institutions. Attached are video evidence showing the character of Mr. Kipchumba, his money laundering activities, his opulence and arrogance, and the public perception on him. That is what had been sent out. And so there's a lot of civic education online on what do you need to do, what should the report have, what are some of the things that should be contained in that. So, tuko tayari. We are ready to take the next step. We're ready to do whatever it takes to ensure that those who are trusted with public office are people of integrity, they are people who are accountable, and they are people who have not stolen from Kenyans. Let's get some music, and then when we come back, we talk about the coming week and what we are to expect.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Kukucheki anipenda ye nimemwacha nyumbani ye hajui baby wanichanganya zingua maliza mimi sijiwezi ni makosa baby forbidden fruit so sweet naenda mimi sitabaki tujiweka shimoni. This is where we end, yeah, 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 yeah. 'Cause you're taboo. Oh, yeah. Wewe ni taboo, 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 taboo. Wewe ni taboo, taboo. 'Cause you're taboo. Oh, yeah. Wewe ni taboo, 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 taboo. Wewe ni taboo, taboo. Kunishika mkono hivo, ninahisi mengi ila ninajua kuna kikomo. Si upendo ni mchezo, uongo si tumeamini. Najaribu kumpenda niliye naye, but wanna let me be. Naenda mimi sitabaki, tujiweka shimoni. This is where we end, yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause you're taboo. Oh, yeah. Wewe ni taboo, 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 taboo. Wewe ni taboo, taboo. 'Cause you're taboo. Oh, yeah. Wewe ni taboo, 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 taboo. Wewe ni taboo, taboo. Twajiweka shimoni, this is where we end. Yeah, 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 yeah. 'Cause you're taboo. Oh yeah, wewe ni taboo, 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 taboo. Wewe ni taboo, taboo. 'Cause you're taboo. Oh yeah, wewe ni taboo, 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 taboo. Wewe ni taboo, taboo.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
MC, still MCA, USA, USB, nakachaja type C. Character ngwe develop viba, ADHD ndani ya ABNB. MC, still MCA, USA, USB, nakachaja type C. Character ngwe develop viba, ADHD ndani ya ABNB.
Screen yangu bado ni JVC, old school blood mi wona KBC. Kichwa mbaya si wasiski, watu wa CBC unaweza tuita Gen Z. Same things she still never change, bado MVP tukimalizanga game. Sioni haya zetu zikikana shi, mindo VIP kwa show zote mna attend. JWK ukituona JK, jeshi ya B imekaa mkuharibu South C. Barricade kuna wale wanaike, jeshi ya D imekaa mkuharibu South D. AV ukidai tuchome scene, tutachoma picha jua tunaga ID. MP ajeskia our plea, mara IBC vitu atetu saidi.
MC, still MCA, USA, USB, nakachaja type C. Character ngwe develop viba, ADHD ndani ya ABNB. MC, still MCA, USA, USB, nakachaja type C. Character ngwe develop viba, ADHD ndani ya ABNB.
Yo, ni kama ndo nilioletea corona. Wanabonga very bad, loud, dawa maheta mdhi. Snake kula kona. Sababu shit zao music oneshanga arrogancy. Nikitaka peng labda nikitaka ring. Lupita Anyezi labda akitaka ring. Njoo ni kuficha ring tukeduma featuring. Sprite lean na nicotine, dry gin na nicotine. Hi honey I'm home. Nazikindergarten magidesha. Since kindergarten na daingi Kim Kardashian. Mombasa, Naivasha. Ama nikupeleke Rhodesia. Ama dampa Kamoro. Acha ni ani kuwa igoro.
MC, still MCA, USA, USB, nakachaja type C. Character ngwe develop viba, ADHD ndani ya ABNB. MC, still MCA, USA, USB, nakachaja type C. Character ngwe develop viba, ADHD ndani ya ABNB.
Yo, this year niko fully loaded. MCA mbele ya wase skuli gode. Choose kazi jo uchumi ngori. Usilize nafanya nini niko shughuli zote. Usimes na ishit ni deep. Dem yako siku mdishin limpimp. Kurura windows ni tint. Karawa na chunguza ninyo ina stink. Brethren, how you behaving? KSM vitu tulifanya Airbnb. MC wenu bado MCM. That's why they can't compare me and them. Juu ya chats kama VOM. Juu ya cash uone violence. Niluliza motherland ama ubaiwe Benz. Covi on demand, warazi wana tense.
MC, still MCA, USA, USB, nakachaja type C. Character ngwe develop viba, ADHD ndani ya ABNB. MC, still MCA, USA, USB, nakachaja type C. Character ngwe develop viba, ADHD ndani ya ABNB. MC, still MCA, USA, USB, nakachaja type C. Character ngwe develop viba, ADHD ndani ya ABNB. MC, still NCA, USA, USB, nakachaja type C. Character ngwe develop viba, ADHD ndani ya ABNB.
Cardinale. There you go, there you go, there you go. This week, we've gotten some news this week. Of course, Rex Masai's mother says none of the people who witnessed him being killed have been able to come forward. Why? Because of police interference, and they've been threatened. So we may actually never get justice for Rex. Pawa is being useless as usual. They have not done anything. They have not moved anything. They're just dragging their feet. Very, very sad state of affairs. Of course, as well on Thursday, there was a march being the anniversary of the 25th. There was a march by the families of those who lost their lives in the Occupy Parliament protests. And you remember, I think you've seen those videos and photos of the auntie of Evans Kiratu holding the photo as she's bundled into a police vehicle. I actually believe that no one should have to be harmed or killed at a protest. I think the fact that people can go for a protest and not come back home just shows you we're in a very, very shady country and we have a very shady government. Because why? What is the reason for shooting people? I just can't wrap my mind around that. Why do we need to shoot people who've come for a protest? They have not harmed anyone. And even as we've said before on this show, the fact that you're protecting property does not give you the right to use your firearm. So why do we do this in this country? And I'm convinced we just have the wrong guy in office, because if we had someone who actually loved this constitution and wanted to uphold it, they would not allow that. Anyway, the family of Kiratu have been released from jail yesterday. Of course, we had Boniface Mwangi and a few other activists who are... The state wanted to detain them for 21 days so that they can carry out investigations. Kenya is the only country where you arrest someone, then you come and tell the court, I don't have evidence, but give me time to look for the evidence. Then I will decide what I want to accuse these people with. Imagine, just nonsense like that. The court was like, no. And remember, part of what the prosecutor was saying is, we don't know where these people live, so they might disappear. They are a flight risk. What are you saying? These are the same people who've been able to come to guys' houses, kidnap them in the middle of the night, abduct them, and then go take them to places nobody knows, and you want to really convince us that you can't get anyone you want to get? Come on, man. Come on. So, I promise you, listen to Jabidi's new song. Jabidi's a fantastic, fantastic guy. Listen to that song, and then when we come up, we wrap up this show. Today, we're talking about public participation. Remember, as I've said, there is an opportunity to give your views on the cabinet nominees that are being presented. If you have any evidence against them, or if you have any reason why they should not be confirmed as CS nominees, you can actually write to the clerk of the National Assembly or send an email to them, or even send a letter that will be delivered through the post. But for now, let's get Jabidi and Miel Martin.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Jabidi, what are you in your polo? What are you in your polo? Wabiro kuongolo, wakelo nuengolo, wachodo nyakangolo, watingo yesu malo. Kikalo rague, kanyomo satudo jakamolo, mano sipna maratari daka kale samakalo. Ono mane polo, ningi mondo midwom, yesu ndo na polo, omia weyo kolo. Imanitimo nyaka par, erokamano nyadi par, igole dier kanindo e par, baba pok ni we atar. Itelo na imenyo na ingono na ikedo na, baba na jama na osip mangi mana.
Miel Martin, Miel Martin, Miel Martin, Miel Martin, Miel Martin, Miel Miel Martin.
Wake a tick.
Wake a tick. Wake a tick. That's that's the latest song. Man, I love it. I love it. Kwanza unasikia hiyo nyatiti. Hey. It's giving Kenya. That's the sound of Kenya. Thank you so much for keeping me company on this show. We're here together with Flozi. Tumeshukuru sana. Thank you for being with us. We hope you've been able to respond to all the questions you've had regarding the question of public participation and what the requirement is under the law. God bless you as you have a lovely weekend. Please be safe out there. Keep warm. There is a flu that is going around, and it does not. It's giving COVID. Okay, so let's just try and avoid that flu. But remember, peace, love, and unity. Kenya ni home. This is our country, and we've got to make it work. So if anyone is making a decision that affects you and they're in a position of authority, whether it's at the county or national government, remember, they are under an obligation under the Constitution to carry out and to conduct public participation before their decisions can actually be accepted as decisions of government or of administrative agencies. You have a right to say no. Simamia hapo. Sawa sawa? God bless you. God be with you. We're going to now be taking our midnight train. If you hear that song, you know the show has come to an end. Asanteni sana. From us in the studio, it's au revoir. Adieu. Yeah.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion.
Pawa Radio. Tune in and power up.